got on a little bit of her softness, and she's got
her strength.
A little bit of my strength.
Yeah.
Not the time, helicopter.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
I have a locket of my boyfriend's hair.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Lily Rose Depp has sparked a debate within the lesbian community after referring to her partner 070 Shake as her boyfriend.
I think a lot of the corporate world is like pretty culturally neutered. The kind of masculine energy, I think, is good. And obviously, society has plenty of that, but I think corporate culture was really like trying to get away from it.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm one of your hosts, Autumn, like the season. I'm trying to channel my dark feminine energy right now, and I work in entertainment.
And I'm your other host, Fiji, like the island, like the water. I just got my hair done, and I work in social media and marketing.
So today we are doing a different type of episode. We've talked about this before, but we're going to start doing one episode per month where we kind of just talk about like what's going on, whether it's internet related, culture, relationships, sex, identity, all of that. So we both just brought some shit to share, and we're going to talk about it.
But first, we're going to start the episode talking about what's got us so wet and so dry in this very moment. So I will go first. I'm so wet, honestly, about bartending right now. Like, I know, like, last month I told you guys I started bartending. I'm not going to lie, like, the schedule is intense, and it's definitely a lot. But, like, there's just something about, like, serving people, taking their orders, like, being, like, in control. Like, it's weird because like you could look at it as like I'm your little bitch running around getting you food and drinks,
right?
But, like, I don't look at it like that. Like I look
just
at it
like stripping,
I am the
bitch.
Bartender. Yes, like you know what I'm saying. Like it's
know.
fun and like I like the messiness of it. Like I broke 2 nails last night, but I'm like. You know what I'm saying? Like I am in the like like shaking drinks and like pouring beers, and I like leave like dirty. I'm like it's nothing like my corporate job. And my corporate job is stressing me the fuck out right now. So, like, it is a nice, like, break away from that.
Right.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and I, like, we first met and we were working in a restaurant together. Like, I remember watching you work that floor, bitch. Like, I was at the host stand.
I
like,
get money, okay?
Yeah, like, that was, honestly, so I'm so happy for you. And, like, I feel like, unfortunately, I may need to embark in the bartending journey soon as well.
Yes.
Which, yeah, but this week, I'm so wet. Like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, when was the last time that you felt like a bad bitch, Autumn? And, like, of course, it was when I was stripping and I was dating my ex-boyfriend. But also, I was, like, really, like, into, like, spirituality, but not just that. Like, kind of just, like, learning about, like, past mythical stories. Mm-hmm. And like also just like doing a lot of like worship and what is it called? The altars.
You had an altar. Yeah.
The altars.
I remember your
like
altar,
I would curate them and like put money on it, and like I really did feel in tune, and like I would try to communicate with like family members that have like passed on, and
you had the
pendulum. Yes, and I was like very like into it, and like I don't know, like I did feel happy. I remember like one time I was walking to the strip club getting into my Uber to go, and like my crystal necklace, like I was like holding it in my hand, and I swear to God, Fiji, I did not drop it. It jumped out and like committed suicide. Like I swear to God. And then I went to the crystal shop like the next day and was like asking this woman that like knows about shit and told her the story, and she was like floored. And I was like, I think it's because I'm not supposed to be like stripping anymore. Like it was like a whole thing. But anyways, so
I feel like I remember that happening.
Yeah, because I
remember you were big into Aphrodite, you were into the pendulum, you were into the altar, and then I feel like you kind of abandoned it when you stopped stripping.
Right,
too.
because I felt like that kept me safe and like invincible while I was stripping. I felt like I had leaders backing me up. Like I really did, because I would wear my crystal necklace like every time I would strip or have it in my money bag. So Yeah, I don't know. So I was just like, I really want to get back into that again and like feed myself that way. Like I have so many like supplies and candles and herbs and like I just want to start doing it again. So I'm wet about that.
Okay, so I am so dry right now just about dating in general. I feel like after we did our male validation episode, I've just been like thinking a lot about like my own creativity, what it's like to be single. Like I was sober, like I've been celibate this whole month, like all of this stuff. And I'm really starting to realize like how much I'm like feeding into myself when I don't have like the distractions of like fucking somebody or meeting up with somebody or dating somebody or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like massively fucking horny and I like really want to fuck someone. Dude. So I feel like I'm just dry about like anything. Like I still have the dating apps. I just never respond to people. I'm like dry about anything that has to do with any sort of like emotional connection, like support system, like anything like that. And I like just strictly want like to be able to hit somebody up to fuck like when I want to, like on a Friday night after work. Like that is all that I want right now. And I think that that's like what's best for me after like this year and like focusing on like myself. So I'm like dry about dating and stuff, but also content about it because I feel like I know what I want. You know?
Right. I love that duality you put in there, bitch. Amazing. I mean, yeah, honestly, I'll just second off of that because I feel like I'm dry about my dating life too. I mean, guys, it's the same old tale, but I don't know. I just feel like I want to, I don't know. Like, I honestly know. Like, I definitely don't want a relationship. I think this is what I want. I want the playful flirting that we talked about. Yeah. And I want the build up. I want to like flirt and meet someone and like maybe they think it's going to go somewhere, but then like it doesn't because I'm like,
see, I don't even think I want that anymore. Like, I was literally thinking about it because I'm like ideally, right, like how we talked about in our casual sex episode, it's like going on a date, like the flirtiness of that, and then like going home and fucking. Like right now, I strictly want someone to come over, fuck me, and leave. Like,
I think I want all the flirty leading up, and then like we don't fuck, and I actually go home.
So we're like opposite.
I do want to fuck, but like I don't want to deal with the repercussions of after, and so I'm like, bro, like I don't know, like I'm really like into pleasuring myself right now, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is lesbian boyfriends, which recently the term had a moment on TikTok because Lily Rose Depp called 070 Shake her boyfriend. So we've seen articles like, why is the term lesbian boyfriend trending? And what is a lesbian boyfriend? How sapphic relationships play with gender. And this was actually brought to my attention by one of my friends, so I can't take credit. But lesbian boyfriend, like I woke the fuck up. But basically, newsflash to me and everyone else, and like I did know this, but lesbian boyfriends have been around forever. Like it is very common within the queer community to like have different gender expression as well, and like have different gender dynamics throughout lesbian relationships specifically. But basically what happened was Lily said, I have a locket of my boyfriend's hair, kind of like in the movie I Like Lockets. I think they're very romantic. And she was talking about Shake. And so like everyone freaked the fuck out because they're like, what do you mean your boyfriend, you know? So people on TikTok were like, boyfriend ? Why is she saying boyfriend? And then someone said, lesbian boyfriends have entered the mainstream. Oh my God, this is a momentous day. Ooh. And then someone said, y'all have never heard of butches and it shows. And then somebody tweeted, I hope Lily Rose Depp never stops calling Shake her boyfriend so she can keep pissing off all the people who are afraid of gender non-conforming lesbians. So I think about this as two things. Like one, this is like a huge conversation that we can have as a community about gender and like how that plays into queerness and like all the intersections and how queer people have done this forever over the years. And this is not like the first time, but you know, things go to TikTok and it feels like that if you're not like educated. And I hate to say it, y'all, but honestly, the first time I was like, oh, a lesbian boyfriend, if anyone's watched the old season of the L Word, like the OG, there was a lesbian in that show that identified as a man. So that was the first time, and I was like kind of thrown by it, like especially in my like peak like white feminism era. I was like, no, like, you're not a lesbian. Just like so fucked up. Whatever. I watched the L Word when I was like 15.
Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Identified lesbian. Yeah, was dating one of the main characters. But yeah, and then like now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so hot. Like I love like honestly like a lot of gender kink play in the bedroom. Like in my lesbian relationships, I've done that a lot where it's like they are like they're not a man, but I'm like calling them man terms like for the time being. And then it also makes me think of like, oh my God, like when you're a queer person and it's like, say you're in a lesbian relationship and people are like, oh, which one of you's the boyfriend? And it's like super annoying. Like neither of us are the boyfriend, you know? But it's just like a big conversation. And at the end of the day, it's like, Shake just wants to be called Lily's boyfriend. Right. And that's it. You know, it's like not so much to like think about. But it's like these things go to TikTok and it was like all these articles like, you know, lesbian boyfriend is trending. And that's why some of the commenters were like, oh my God, like, no, like it's always been a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like Impact had posted it or I saw on TikTok. And honestly, my first thought was like, I mean, I think when I read more about it, I was like, okay, like this makes sense. Like this is their thing, whatever. But I thought of Becca Moore and Shannon. And when like she hadn't announced Shannon yet, she was calling her like my boyfriend. Like everyone knew she was in a relationship, but she was like my boyfriend, my boyfriend, my boyfriend. And like before I read about like the 070 Shake, like actual shit, I was like, all I could think is like a lesbian being like embarrassed. Or like not wanting other people to know that she's queer.
And that's why
so
it's like
they're saying So my first thought was like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? Like, because I was like, Shake, at least to my knowledge, I don't know. She identifies as a woman.
I'm not sure.
Or non-binary. Okay, so I don't know with that, but like I remember thinking that with like Becca and Shannon, and I was like, oh, like that's like, but I guess like she was coming out, so it's like different.
I know, but it's
still like because you can like. Think that like in certain settings like a woman could be like, oh, like my boyfriend when she really refers to her girlfriend as her girlfriend, but like it's like more protecting. So I'm like, but it's interesting that term has been around like forever. It's like it's not new. It's just it's cool that they brought it mainstream.
It's not new at all. Yeah, the article talks about like queer couples have always played with gender expression and terminology throughout history in non-conventional ways. From butch husbands to dyke boyfriends to drag kings to he/him lesbians, the gender spectrum of lesbian identity is too expansive to limit. And I just loved that. But like, I feel you. And like, honestly, like the Becca and Shannon shit too. Like there was this, they dressed up for and I'm not saying anything's wrong with this, but they dressed up for Halloween and Shannon was like the football player. And Becca was like the cheerleader. People in the comments were like, this is heterosexual. Yeah. And it's like so.
But it's like that would be like a kink fantasy.
No, that's too. So hot. Like, are you kidding
You know what I'm saying? So it's like.
And it's even if it wasn't, like, it's fine. But it's like, there's so much. And like everyone has so many opinions. And I do think it's like the term boyfriend, like even when me and my roommate are at the grocery store. And I'm like, or something. And I'm like, oh, I can't reach that. Or like, oh, I can't cut this hard enough. And she does. I'm like, yeah, like you're the boyfriend. Which is like stupid. Like,
yeah, because I'm like, is it gendering it like
that's
more?
What I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's like I'm doing that, not Shake. You know, not Lily. You know, not
Yeah, them is like their own separate. Like obviously people should do what they want to do, and like it's not weird. But like my first thought goes to like. Oh, like women can also be masculine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and not be
identify and not have to be like you could still be a masked woman. Because I know some lesbians are very much like that. Like, you know that comedian, she's like a masked lesbian and she'll talk about like, just because I'm the mask doesn't mean I'm like carrying your bags and doing all this shit. Like, I'm still a lady. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but there's a spectrum.
Yeah.
There's such a fucking spectrum of people like, you know, adding certain gender elements.
I know, and then you're a dumb bitch like me when I was queer and like fucking 16 and I'm like attracted to like women that are more masculine and I do think they're gonna carry my bags for me. Like it is a fucking real thing and it's like no. Like no. So it is like I don't know. But I love that like at least it's having a moment because maybe people can learn more.
They're so hot together too. Like, I know. They're both individually hot and
together it's just like unreal. Let's put some more pictures of them on the screen because I got a lot and like Yeah, like that makes me want to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
I can't even lie. But I don't know. I feel like ultimately it's like I would be with anyone that like identifies any type of way and like and are also a lesbian. Like I feel like I've never been with a woman that wants me to call her boyfriend, but like I'd be open to it, you know?
Right.
Like I don't care either way, and that's how we should all feel.
Okay, so first for mine, I just want to acknowledge everything that's going on politically right now, and we're not going to talk about everything politically, but like it is insane. Like if you have like fatigue about watching, I think it's very important. Like I keep getting in a fight with myself about like you need to pay attention, like you need to be watching what's going on, and then watching it and immediately getting like anxiety, panic attack, and then not like that far, but then being like, oh, like I'm just like a privileged white woman, like I shouldn't feel that way. You know, like it's a lot of emotions going on right now with like everything politically. And I was gonna do one about more of the political stuff, but then I was like, guys, like again, like we're not a political podcast, and like we're political every time we talk about like sex, relationship, and personal identity issues, but like with that type of stuff, like this shit that Trump is doing and like all of that, like I really think you should go to like a different source like on those things and engage with that type of content. But I want to acknowledge it's happening and that we should all be paying attention. But within that, the thing that I've been like also like hyper focusing on that's been like stressing me out and thinking about the podcast and everything is everything that's happening with social media. So like obviously TikTok, the whole TikTok ban, and then there was the propaganda message with Trump, like them being like, thanks to Trump, TikTok's back. So now we know that, you know, Trump has hands in TikTok. We know that X, formerly Twitter, is owned by Elon Musk. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg owns Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook. And Google is owned by, I forget, so YouTube is owned by Google, which is owned, but all of them are bad right now. And it's weird because there's all these conversations about free speech and like da-da-da, whatever. But right now, I'm going to zone in on Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, because so Mark Zuckerberg's lawyer recently dropped him from like a lawsuit case and cited the reason being him becoming a neo-Nazi and his descent into toxic masculinity. Mm-hmm. And the lawyer said that like they could not in good faith like represent him anymore. And so like I thought this was like, one, I wanted to talk about it because you guys know like we talk about toxic masculinity, like all types of gender stuff. So I spent 3 hours, I think it's 3 hours of my what was it, Wednesday night?
That was like your life?
Like yeah, no, literally like this, and that's the thing, I've been so busy that I've not been really consuming that much content. So for me to sit down and watch this was a fucking lot. I watched the entire thing. It was so stupid, but I watched Joe Rogan's podcast episode with Mark Zuckerberg on it because I'm like, okay, like I need to know what the fuck is going on
honestly,
that side of
like
things.
It sounds like hell to watch that, but it is kind of like, yeah, it's important.
It's a different world. Like we
especially
are like
for
normally,
us.
Yeah, like normally I'm watching all women queer YouTubers.
Why the
that are
fuck
like
wouldn't we?
Think like me, liberal, like some different thoughts,
echo
whatever.
chamber.
I never
though.
watched that. Yeah, it's an echo chamber. So I'm like, everyone loves Joe Rogan. Trump was on there, right? Like everybody's been on his podcast. Like I want to see what's up with Mark Zuckerberg. So I don't know. And then Mark Zuckerberg, we know, started Facebook wanting to like rate women. He was a nerd. Like all this stuff about Mark Zuckerberg. Like he clearly, like you could tell, like watching it. Like I don't want to normally make fun of people, but guys, this is Mark fucking Zuckerberg.
No,
like he thinks he's hot shit with his like black t-shirt and his like chain. And he has 3 daughters too, which I'm like is also very alarming. But essentially like the whole episode, like they're like Joe Rogan is asking him about the changes that they're making with like Meta, and they're like, you know, getting rid of fact checking and doing community notes and then certain stuff with AI and like whatever. Like all of it is terrifying to me, and maybe eventually I'll do an episode that's like more about this social media stuff because I think it is important. But the thing that I thought, so Mark Zuckerberg's going down this toxic masculinity rabbit hole, right? Mm-hmm. And he's trying to make like the office culture like more masculine because he thinks that like the tech space and corporate culture has been quote unquote neutered. Like, yeah. Okay. And Joe Rogan like has his background in like martial arts, fighting, whatever. Mark Zuckerberg like did his little Brazilian jiu-jitsu like fighting moment, and like I don't know if you guys know, but I used to work for a boxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym that was surrounded by like these type of men. Like they get really into it. And so they're talking about like how great it is to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and like use your body and like fight and like da-da-da. And then they're talking about hunting and like how like men used to literally like shoot arrows and like kill and like get the meat and like how great this is. And they're like talking about the problem with like modern culture is like we don't have this and da-da-da. And it's like I just cannot listen to these conversations because part of it is like right and part of it is okay in the sense that it's like you can go roll around, which I think is like low-key gay as fuck. Go roll around on the mats doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu with your homies.
Like the way they're like
they're in each other's crotches, like sweating all over each other, like we're men. Like I don't,
like
it's so
edging
gay.
each other,
literally edging each other. It's so fucking gay. But go do that. Go be a man. Go do that. Go hunt ethically. Whatever. But like, why do you need to like you can't just do that as a hobby? Like, why do you need to like take that into like corporate shit and like make you be like, oh, society is neutered because men can't beat each other up at work? And like, I just can't.
Because
like,
they're losing it. Like, I think like to a degree, it's like, maybe they're a little scared too with like the state of the world and like if they really believe that the workplace has been neutered, they want to jump to like huge things to like fix it and they think they just needs that like man shit in there. But yeah, I mean, I'm so guilty of just like completely being ignorant because I'm just like I'm just like it's so stupid. Like it's so stupid. I'm like you clinically need fucking help and I don't want to watch this, but like I also need to watch it because I can't just pretend like everything's fucking okay and like everybody hates Trump and like everybody hates it. Like no, like people like Joe Rogan. Mark, like people like them. So but that like the way that you watched that for 3 hours, like babe, I'm so sorry that you did that alone. Like I'm sorry.
So painful to watch because I was like, what the fuck am I? And then like Mark Zuckerberg's big thing is like freedom of speech. Like they're all like on the feed. And he was like, people just, there was like some point where, because you remember we had talked about that court case. I think it was in our, what episode was it where we talked about the freedom of speech and then that court case with Biden trying to like censor conversations about like COVID.
Like maybe
and,
like, the Bumble
mandates and vaccines. No, it was more recent.
I don't remember. We do so much, guys. Go check it out.
Yeah, we do so much. I'll link it in the description. But so we talked about that. And like to some degree, it's like, okay, like, but no one is coming for free speech. They're just like fact checking history. Like it'll be like someone will say like some racist thing or whatever. And people will be like, oh, well, actually like Black people in this country like built this country. Like, and that is a fact.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and they'll be like, oh, like, you know, you can't have any opinions anymore. Like that's their whole thing. And that's why it's so scary. Like the way these social media platforms are like moving because like
and TikTok's not the same anymore.
No, it's not.
Like it is not. I don't know what is off about it, but like it is 100% not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Like
because
I feel
Trump's
like
in it. Like I feel like that. And it's like, if you're gonna, not to be a conspiracy theorist, guys, like,
no,
I'm really,
let's
like,
talk
not
conspiracy.
To be, but it's like, if you're gonna run a psyop, like a fucking, like, brainwashing psyop, like, on
wait, I'm sorry,
citizens,
babe. Psyop?
Like, to psychologically, like, manipulate people, like, brainwash them, like, get them to, like, be under your control, which is what we've seen happen with, like, incels and, like, men in the manosphere low-key.
A little too easily, I might add.
And, like, all the, like, because it's low-key election interference. I don't know. I think it's election interference too. Like the pipeline, the alt-right pipeline and how it's, because even Mark Zuckerberg, think about him, like nerdy ass dude that started the platform when he was 19 and started it by rating girls. And like, he's not a social person, but started this like social media platform. He probably feels like a man in a way that and he even talked about that in a way that he never did before when he's doing these quote unquote masculine things. So like, okay, cool. Like you're on this personal growth journey to finding your masculinity, but then it like gets toxic so quick because you have trauma. Same with Elon Musk, who hates transgender people, but like his ex-wife Grimes was dating a transgender person and he has a transgender child.
Right.
Like so much of this shit is just like clearly like personal like issues and like inabilities to accept things because you have like personal like flaws and like whatever.
Right.
But it's just like it's so scary to think about like, no, like we actually are outnumbered by people that think this way,
it's
and
like
they're taking over
the army that's like being created because of these people. It's like terrifying.
Like it's
and it's like, I mean, this is all stolen land too,
literally,
you know. And it's just like, I don't know, like I'm terrified, but we can't just like go under the bed and hide. So I'm just like, I don't know, like what.
And that's and we talked about it too. Like I feel like for us, like, I mean, I think it's important for creators like us, like you guys listening, to like keep creating content, speaking in your own niche, whatever, like about the things that you can, because like, especially as like these people own these platforms, it is scary to think about like, you know, critical race theory being banned, like only 2 genders being mandated. Like they're cracking down on a lot of like stuff. So right. I don't know, like to me, I'm like, I do think.
And I think of that picture of the Puritan culture of like those women like in those outfits.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's like, that's what they like want. Like it's like a dictatorship and like it's
like a Nazi regime.
And it's like this was a quote in Wicked, and this is so stupid, but like the Wizard of Oz was straight up like, the best way to bring folks together is to give them an enemy. And, like, the enemy is each other. Like, both of these bad sides.
Yeah.
When really, if it was, like, the people versus, like, government and state, like, it, you know? Like, but it's not. Like, it's literally not like that. So.
It's so bad, guys. But yeah, it's so bad, guys. I wish I had more takeaways from the Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg podcast, honestly. But, like, watching it is just, like, listening to, like, 2 average dudes, just one of them's wealthy and like really smart in the tech space. Like, I don't know, like it's just like they're so dumb in these fields and it's really fucking depressing. But like I do think if there's anything, like keep paying attention. Like they have our data, like how you consume content, how your algorithm is set up, like all of that stuff. Like don't drive yourself crazy about it, because it also like mental health is a thing. And especially like if you are an identity that's like impacted directly by this, I mean, all the DEI stuff, like the 2 gender mandate, like take care of your fucking self, like for sure, because you're no help to nobody if you're not like stable. Right. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I think we need to be like as aware as possible.
I think we all just need to like stay safe and like literally just like keep the people in our lives like close and like cherish like literally every moment. Like you never know what someone's going through. Like being nice to like strangers when you're out is like literally could change someone's whole fucking day with how hard it is. And I think, like the amount of times I'm like, accept all cookies. Like, I just want that pop-up out of my way.
Right.
You know what I
mean? Like, do it.
But I think we need to just, like what you're saying, like be more careful of how we interact with these platforms and just like educate ourselves the best we can. And get offline when we need to. Like, it, you know what I mean? Like we can't
touch grass, talk to humans.
Yeah, like, 100%. So the next thing we're going to talk about, guys, is basically if you've been living under a rock and you don't know the movie Wicked that just came out with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, there's been a lot of talks about them in the media, specifically because of how they, quote unquote, acted during the Wicked press tour. They have been known to be crying a lot and always touching each other and like having like just like a really deep friendship. People were talking about their bodies and like how they looked. And now it's even going as far as people are accusing Cynthia of cheating on her partner with Ariana Grande. So we're going to talk about this situation. So first things first, I will definitely first say that I am biased. I am a huge Ariana Grande fan, bitch. I'm wearing fucking cat ears right the fuck now. And I also love Cynthia because of this fucking movie. Like she literally changed my life. Like that performance, like whatever. Yeah. And so my thing is like thinking about like these two literally got trashed on TikTok because of how much they were crying during these interviews. And it's like, I get it. Like we all love to like make fun of real people's fucking emotions. And it's like, oh, they're celebrities, like whatever. But you guys don't like, it's just like mean. Like it's really mean. And also people don't understand like, everyone's like, oh, Wicked came out, woohoo, like they've been doing this for like 2 seconds. No, bitch.
Yeah.
This started 2 years ago. They filmed 2 movies, not just one that hasn't come out yet, in literal Oz, because that set was phenomenal. And like they were living these characters like dream roles. It's like their dream fucking role. Like fucking Cynthia is about to be having Oscar, all the awards, Tony, what are they? That's so Grammy, like all of them. She has like every single one, and if she gets an Oscar, she'll have the 4.
Grammy music?
Yeah, she sings too. Like she's got it all. So I just think like, and then you think about cringe culture, like everyone's always making fun of one another, okay? And I just think them crying like they've been through it. Like I think it's fucking rude how people have been coming at them. Like we as a society don't accept like real raw emotion. Like you can tell they're not like faking it. Like they're fucking emotional. And I don't care if people think it's annoying. You don't need to watch. And like also when people talk about their bodies, oh my God, they're both so skinny. First of all, you don't know anything about what it's like to be in this fucking industry. That's 1.
Right.
2, I know for a fact that when these celebrities work so hard, I highly doubt there's anyone there being like, oh, Arianna, did you have lunch today? Yeah. I think the fuck not. Okay? Yeah. They work fucking hard. They've been training their bodies, their voices, like everything for so long. Like, and maybe there is something going on. Maybe they want, you know, but it's like, we don't know. And the way we talk about people's bodies is like fucking infuriating. Yeah. And I'm so over that shit. And then people had to take it a step further and demonize their closeness as a female friendship and be like, oh, they're flirting. Are you fucking 12 years old? Like, literally, you know that creator Sloan that I used to watch? Well, he did a video about this, and I'm like, this is embarrassing. Like, no, they're not cheating. They have an emotional connection. They're friends. Like, my roommate and I, like, have a similar type shit. Like, it's like a closeness that's, like, not flirty, but, like, it's playful in an emotional, real way. And I just, like, hate that everyone's coming for them, and I'm tired of it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get it. You're so valid and you're so right on everything.
Here you go. You're gonna say something. You're like, oh my God. Yeah, I know.
No, I'm not. Okay, no.
I can see it in your eyes.
No. Because the only thing is that one clip, the like viral one.
What, the finger? I don't care. The nail.
But because after they like talked about that clip and they like don't know what happened.
Right.
Like, remember they were both like,
because they're in the moment.
I know, but like, okay, I get it. Like, I feel you.
Right.
They're not used to seeing people have emotion. They can be close and they're not cheating. I think, and part of that is hateful towards Arianna because I know a lot of people were saying that because of Ariana's history with like other couples and like whatever. Just leave her alone. Like,
people don't like business. She's not the only one in these relationships, and I know people say, well, she's the common denominator, but it's just like, oh my God, like literally get a life and leave her the fuck alone. Like, I'm tired of it. Continue.
Yeah, but I think I just think their emotion was a lot. And not that it's not that, like, of course, like it is trippy to watch too as someone at home because like I don't think about that stuff, like you said, like all the time. Like, I didn't know they were doing a second film and that they've been spending so much time on this. And like, of course, like this is way more important to them. And I'm coming out of context and not really a theater person. Like, I don't really give a fuck.
And that's fine. That's most people do feel that way.
Right. But and I don't want to add to the shit, but I'm like, the only thing too is that they very much give, because I know there was like a point in my life, right, where I lived with like roommates and we were all doing a lot of drugs. And like, I have like videos of myself and like one of these said friends, and we're like, wow, like a flower. Like the way we were acting was insane. Like it was that like post acid trip when we were still doing Molly and shit. And everything that we saw was like mesmerizing and just kind of like, whatever. So I think it's just the fact that they're so skinny. They're very like, I know like the body went so skinny, touching each other all the time, and like they look to me like addicts. As someone who has experienced that type of substance induced psychosis a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it just gives a little bit.
Right. But even so, even if it is that, it's like,
we shouldn't be
let
hating
them
on
be.
that.
It's so hard to be in the positions they are in. But it's very real what you're talking about. But the truth is, it's like, we don't know. So maybe, but like everyone just like jumping to conclusions, and it's just like
sleuthing. Like, I think that's the thing is, like, I watch a clip like that, and like, I'm not gonna lie, I either laugh. I'm probably laughing at it, like, because I don't like. I need to see the movie though. I know.
Yeah, it's like really that's why I said I'm biased. Like, I care about them a lot.
But like, what I'm not gonna do is comment some shit like, "Oh my god, they look so unwell,"
do that,
or make a video analyzing like their personal lives and going deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are taking it too far.
And it is funny to an extent. It's okay to laugh. Like, I'm sure they look back and they're like, haha, whatever.
And
but
they
it's
did
like,
in that clip, looking back at themselves. They were laughing about it too. So that's why I think it's like fine to like laugh about some of it. And they're also like, they're theater kids, they're artists. Like, they're gonna be a little bit eccentric. We are. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone who like deeply cares about something and puts that much time and energy and effort and like makes like solid bonds with someone, like, other people aren't gonna get it.
Right.
You know?
And I do think it's just like the way we look at female friendship. Like, we have that episode how it's like so like they are literally like so connected. And it's like for people to jump immediately and just be like, Cynthia's cheating, like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, when did Arianna come out? Like, did I fucking miss something? Like, it's just like, oh, and then it's like, oh, just maybe is that just because Cynthia is queer? If Cynthia wasn't queer, would anyone be saying that? So it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh
and then
my
people
God.
are trying to figure out if Arianna is queer, which is also weird because like outing people and like all of that stuff, like just like leave it alone. Like,
I know. And it's just like, I just think like the story that they made together, and like I wouldn't look at it like this if I didn't like see Wicked when I was a little girl and like whatever. But it's like I respect their talent immensely. And it's like, I just like, people on the internet don't know what like anyone is going through or what they're going through. Like, and even if it was like they were addicts, it's like, shouldn't we be like sending prayers and love?
Well, it's the same as like the stuff with Lily Phillips, right? Like, even if Lily Phillips is having a hard time with whatever that she's doing, like, it's not helping by like saying all of that stuff in her comment section. You know, like, it's the same type of thing. It's like, if they are like going through a hard time and like they have each other, like they clearly have a support system or like whatever. So it's like, you know, because I know that was like a lot of the jokes that were like, what the fuck happened on that set? Like, what is going on? Like, did they trauma bond? Like, whatever. But it's like, we don't need to know. Like,
I just,
you know,
I think they're okay. I do.
I haven't followed her
idea.
forever. So, but it is like, as someone who's not a big Ariana Grande like fan or knows that much, like, and I have seen like in the algorithm like the edits of her and her blackfishing phase versus her now.
Yeah, I know.
And which is
they
also,
are
like,
loud right now.
Yeah, it's fucked up because people are like making those edits and like the hate train and like da 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 da. But it's like
really
it
is kind of
watch.
Concerning though. Like, it is a little bit crazy, and I do think that like she has been called out for stuff that she should be called out for. Because it's like her use of like AAVE. Like, I know we're always like, oh my God.
Well,
like,
she changed her voice like completely.
Yeah, like,
and now she talks completely differently.
Exactly. And it's like, so it is like valid, and I do think like that is like important to like bring up. And I was even
But she's grown too. Like, at least now she's not doing that stuff. So,
I know.
So why are we bringing it back up if she's beyond it, you know?
And I do think like her voice changing, like, at least, like, I think now she's like still talking like how she did in the movie. Like, she's talking like Glinda the witch. Like, that's what it. But it is like the voice shit is like weird, and it's also she grew up in the spotlight. Like, so it's like your voice does like, so it's like, I don't know, but I do think like certain things she said in songs and like the over the top tanning is like, like that deserves to be like called out 100%. But yeah, I don't know. I just like, I love female friendship. And like, even though me and you are not like, you know, I mean, we do kiss when we're drunk, like when I beg you to, but like we're like, you know, I do feel that with you to an extent too, where it's like we have this like emotional connection, and people have thought we were dating like forever when we were like co-independent, but we were just like, whatever. I ate it up. I was like, yeah, whatever, we are. But we weren't, and like, you know, so I don't know, but I just
and it's fucked up for Cynthia's girlfriend because people are making all these edits and being like, oh,
Cynthia's
she looks
girlfriend
upset.
is fine as
like,
fuck.
yeah, so it's like, why are
they
you
look
like
so
trying
good
to
together?
Yeah, it's not. It's
it's fucking annoying as fuck. All right.
Okay, so last thing, mine. It's not really like a media thing, not really something that's happening in the media. Besides the fact that like boy sober is a thing that we kind of talked about like last week. So like sobriety is trending like in some ways.
Totally.
And obviously it was just January, like beginning of the year. But you guys know I did my sobriety month last month. I just finished yesterday, so I drank yesterday. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what it's been like being sober for that month, and then also like the journey of quitting cigarettes, which I'm still not like done yet. Like I still definitely have cravings. I'm still on the patch, all of that stuff, because I have like a lot of friends. I mean, you included. I feel like you have different, like you, it's weed, like versus like alcohol and stuff like that. But like I have other friends too who have been like considering doing like a dry month or like da-da-da. And it's like, honestly, guys, like, when I think about like why, like the reason why I decided to be sober was because I did want to quit cigarettes, and I thought that like quitting drinking was going to make it easier. But I also think like in some way I was trying to prove to myself that like I was like, there was nothing like wrong with me. Like I was like trying to like evolve to like top level Fiji with like no substances and like whatever.
Yeah.
And then I would be good. Like I really thought in my head to some degree that like my like problems would go away without like alcohol and cigarettes in my life, because like it's an obvious scapegoat, right? Like we know that like drinking isn't good for you, cigarettes, like da-da-da. And so like in a lot of ways, you know, things did get better in certain senses. I have way more energy than I did like when I was smoking cigarettes. Like I wasn't dealing with like hangovers and stuff like that. Like I was like confronting my emotions more, I think, in times that I would normally like go for alcohol and cigarettes. But the thing too that's been like really hard is like I was diagnosed bipolar in like September, and I've been having like a really hard time with that. And like again, like I thought things would like go away, but I'm kind of like realize they got worse in a lot of senses, just like inside of my brain and the ways that I like handled stress. And like granted, like I didn't set myself up for success like the best way, because I picked up a whole other job where I was working 3 to 4 days a week. And then like on top of the podcast, so like I was staying busy so that I wasn't thinking about it. Yeah. So I was staying busy so I wasn't thinking about drinking or smoking. Like I was trying to fill all of my time possible, which I don't think is like completely like, I'm glad I did it. Like I think it did help a lot. But I don't know, like this past week has been so hard for me. And like I honestly like ended like yesterday and like this morning like just feeling like really down about the entire experience, and just being like feeling really hopeless, and being like, okay, like I feel like I've tried to do everything that I could, but like, you know, the next step is to get like medicated or something like for like bipolar and stuff like that. And I've thought about that, but like that is also like scary. I know you're on meds and you've had like different experiences, but like sobriety is just weird, and like it's not gonna solve all your problems. And like I've talked to like certain people who have been sober for like 10 years that I know, and like they say that it's like way harder than, you know, drinking. Like it's just hard to be fucking sober, and especially when you have like mental health stuff. So like I don't know where I'm at with it right now. I feel like if you're considering it, like I think it's worth doing, but like I think like I was wrong to think that like everything was gonna get miraculously better.
Yeah.
Because I set myself up for like that's not realistic, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you were wrong though. Like the intention behind all of it was like you wanted to help yourself. You wanted to be healthy. Like that's what you were talking about too. And like I think it was a good decision to do it. I don't think you should regret doing it. But I also think if you do regret it, that's valid and normal. I'm not trying to critique how you or anyone listening feels. Yeah. But I think it does make sense that it brought up everything, because I worry about myself. Like if I stopped smoking weed, I think I would be a fucking bitch. Like I think I would be miserable. I think I would be so irritable. And like
so irritable.
I think
the
the part about sobriety is like the permanency of it. And like what I can relate to it in my life is like I struggled with eating disorders for like a really long time. And like when I was like healed, I was like, well, I can never diet again, or I can never really like go exercise with the intention of losing weight because like I can't handle it and like it's not healthy for me. Like I need to like reframe it. It's not dieting. I'm just doing this. And it's like that's really hard that you can never do that again or you can never drink again. Like you can't be a quote unquote normal person.
Right.
Because you're like you have issues and you can't do that like normal person thing. And so like that's what I can relate it to the most. And like it feels horrible and it feels heavy and like the permanence of sobriety and like being like I can never drink the same because it's just I just can't and there's nothing that you can do to like fix that because it feels like the damage is already done, like it's too late. But yeah, I mean it's like medication helps and like therapy and like I even think like revisiting like not even just talking to you but like anyone dealing with it is like the right treatment center. Like I think it's hard to find one. I think the mental health system is like really fucked and I think it's like really hard to find a good one. But even just like considering like maybe like one of those like silent retreats, like I've thought about doing something like that too. Like that's like therapeutic. I mean obviously it's like that costs like a shit ton of money and like all that shit. But I don't know. Like I do think like for you, babe, like I don't think that you need to never drink again. I think it's just you need to find how to like
I need to find a balance.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's
and I think you should last thing is like I think you should be so proud of yourself because it is so hard. Me thinking about quitting weed feels like literally impossible. And I know that's like how you felt to a degree too. It's like it's literally impossible. But like you did it and I can do it too. Other people can do it. So like I think you should just like feel really proud of yourself, but like like you brought up like a lot of shit that you weren't dealing with, and it's like you talk about too, it's like analyzing yourself, like is this my behavior, my personality, or is this like my mental health? And I think like it's good to think about it, but like maybe not so
but also
much.
not also because and that's the thing,
because you were still you like you still have a core and like a central being.
Right.
And you're
but
being
it's just
affected.
hard with like the bipolar because I think what I thought to some degree like the root of certain stuff is my like behaviors with substances and like all of that stuff. But I feel like after this sobriety month, I'm like, no, the root of it is my mental health and that's how I cope with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I think my mental health like And I've been like deep on bipolar like Reddit and I've been like reading all this stuff and like I wasn't doing that before because I think in my mind like if I had thought too hard about like quitting and doing this stuff I would have like convinced myself not to because like if I thought about the fact that it was hard I wouldn't have done it. But like I was reading that like when you quit smoking cigarettes, if you have bipolar, you're more likely to have like a manic episode. Like that it's something like with the chemicals in your brain and like you needing, it's also like bipolar people need a lot of routine. And I think without all of my like coping mechanisms, especially with like work and like when everything's stressful, I would smoke a cigarette or I would like drink after work. Like without having that, I did notice myself like getting manic. Like I spent so much money. I like bought so much shit, which is cute, guys. Like I'm not mad about it. Like I have like so much new makeup, like new clothes, like whatever. But it's like I'm like doing too much. And then even like the first night I started drinking again, like I just did too much. And like it's just because I feel like I've had all this like pent up like energy. So it's like I'm acknowledging the bipolar and that's like the next phase of like whatever it is. But like trying to figure out like what your relationship is to like substances is just fucking difficult. Like guys, like it's like whether it's weed, whether it's alcohol, whether it's nicotine, whether it's eating, like whatever, caffeine, drugs, like whatever it is, it's like because there's a reason that we're using these things. And like I think I would beat myself up as like, oh, like this is something that I do just for fun. Or even sometimes with cigarettes, I'm like, oh, it's just the aesthetic or it's just I've been doing it for so long. But it's like, no, like I was doing these things for a very like core mental health reason. So like that's kind of what I've discovered. And like I don't know, like just know if you're thinking about like quitting something or going, like it's not going to be easy. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. But like be like prepared for it to like rock you a little bit.
So I'm honestly just like, I know like substance abuse is like a crazy thing. And I honestly think I will be such a different person if I stop smoking. And like part of me is like excited for that potential. And then the other part of me is like really fucking scared. Like I just like don't even know. Like, and I do feel like, oh, like I'll have to be the person. Like if you're like out at a bar, it's like spontaneous, casual. Someone lights up a joint, I'm gonna have to be like, I can't hit it. Like I can't.
Well,
like,
I wanted to last and that's the thing. The second I drank alcohol last night,
yeah,
I
can't even imagine the crate
so bad. Like it was so bad, and I was like, okay, like, and it's been 4 or 5 weeks. Like it's been a while, so it's like I'm out for, and I still have nicotine patches. You know, like it's not getting easier. Certain things get easier. But it doesn't. And it's just like, I don't know. Like the reason I thought this was like good, because I was like, is this even sex and relationships? What is this? But I think it's personal identity, because it's like your mental health and like substances become so core to your identity and how you see yourself. And detaching like you're saying, like you not smoking weed would be a different person. It becomes your identity.
It really does. And it's like you smell like it, like it's everywhere. And like, even for me too, like it's like I'm not even high. Like I don't even smoke like crazy high weed.
Right.
Like I'm not even like craving a high. I'm just like doing it because I can't stop.
And that's how I was too.
Like
but
I don't even want to do it.
Quit, but if you quit, you'll realize, like, even though now you don't feel like you have a high, because I felt like that was
I definitely will.
When you're gone from it, you'll be like, no, like that is a high that like I need it. Like you know what I'm saying?
I think it's like like maybe I am high. I'm just like coasting casually. Like I'm not tripping. Like I'm not like doing it to smoking so much that I like get fucking faded. I like do it all day a little bit throughout the day. And even last thing I'll say is like, and if my sister, if you're listening, I love you. Hi. But she like made me so emotional because when we were like talking last time she was here, you were literally here. Where were you? You were probably inside. She said something to me, or maybe it was before you arrived. And she was like, because she came to visit me in LA, and she was like, it was like kind of scary for me to like see like how you really live with the weed. And it like fucking opened my eyes. Because first I got like defensive and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean it was scary? Like, I barely even smoke, like, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, wait a second. Yeah, the fuck you do. And also, it's like, no one really sees it because, like, I don't, like, you know? So it's like, then it's like my sister comes and, like, I was like, damn, like, she wasn't scared, like, oh my God, but it affected her. Like, she was like, this is how, like, my sister, like, lives. Like, she smokes a lot. And it like, and I was literally like, oh my God, like I never want to smoke again. And not because she felt that way, just like brought something up in me. It's like, I do think I'm ashamed. And I think you can relate too. It's like, you were smoking cigarettes, but you didn't want to be. And like, you feel insecure. And I'm like, I hate that I have to do this. Like, it makes me feel sad. Yeah. But then without it, like you're saying, is fucking hard. I don't want to deal with fucking emotions. Like, and I'm going to be a bitch. I know I am. Yes. To myself and to everyone. Like, irritability is, like, just the number one thing. And, like, I'm just, like, I'm so sick of it. And, like, my mom has, like, addiction. Like, bro, like, I'm just,
And that's the thing, because same when I was home, like, and my parents walk by and they see the ashtray on the patio and they're like, oh my God, like, you've smoked that many cigarettes. It's like, and we think
it's
about
like,
that.
That's a lot? Like, I genuinely am like.
I don't acknowledge it, but it's like, to other people who aren't struggling with the, like, addiction or whatever, it's like, well, no, duh, you have something wrong with you. But, like, I feel like for us, or, like, people that are living it, it's like, no, like, this is, like, it's a crutch.
No, I normalize it. Yeah. I normalize it because I need to. Because I need to just feel okay. But, like, you really, like, even just no matter what happens next for you, Fiji, like, I really want you to know that, like, you have 100%, like, inspired me. Like, that, what you did is so crazy and hard.
Thanks,
and, like,
babe.
I don't think I could do it. Like, I really don't. And so it's just, like, you always talk about, like, having friends in your life. It's like, oh, like, get that second job. Like, you made a TikTok once and you were like, oh, do this. And it's like, you, like, that really did it for me because I was like, damn. Like, if, like, I do feel like if she can do it, like, I can do it. Like, I can do it too. So, like, yeah, I definitely want to try. I don't know when.
And I think that is, like, part of
I'm, like, craving it right now.
Like, yeah. And I think that's what helped me is thinking about it for so long before I decided to do it. Because it's like, you want a change. And like, I go back and forth because like even working at the bar now and seeing so many drunk people there all day, I'm like, everyone has an addiction. Like everyone has something. And so it can be easy to be like, oh, there's no reason to change. Like there's nothing wrong with me. And part of me feels like that now again after doing it and being like, well, I don't feel that fucking like different.
Dude.
You know, like, but it's a lifelong thing. I don't think, well, and that's why I wanted to say it too, because I'm like, I know like you and some of my other friends have been like inspired by it and like all that stuff, but like I'm not feeling that right now.
Right. Like you're like, you know, but guys, like I'm honestly,
like, please don't use me as a role model. Like because I'm like, I clearly don't have the fucking answers. But no, it's just
making that choice in that will to try something different, even if it was whatever. Like that's what's like inspiring, because it's like we all just feel like life is happening and we have no agency, but we literally have so much power. Like there's no sim controlling us that what feels like it is. And you know, we probably are living in a matrix, but like we do like have power, you know? And so I don't know, but I think it's like really important to talk about. It's like addictions, it's like food, exercise, sex, drugs, alcohol. It's like there's so much, and like everyone, we all have like unhealthy coping methods that like we convince ourselves are just okay, but like I really do think I would live a better life if I wasn't addicted to weed the way that I was. And I think it would be really fucking hard, maybe for a full year. I don't think like it's, you know, and then it's like I can smoke, like, because I would love to just be like someone that like smokes at night only. Right. But when I'm smoking in daylight, it makes me feel like I'm a fucking cretin. Like I feel horrible about myself. So it's like, but I do think like for you, everyone, it's like the sobriety shit, like it is like a really lifelong thing, which makes it feel so daunting. It makes me not want to do anything about it, because I don't want to deal with anything. And then even
when you do something about
it, I can barely I've been clock in at work.
Like today, I'm like, actually, let me go get a pack of cigarettes. Like I'm not going to with the cigarettes. I really think I'm done. But it's just like, I don't know. Like even you saying like, oh, I know, I think I'm gonna feel so much better. It's like I don't know.
No,
like, you know
no, but I think I'll feel better a year later. But I think like for that year, I'm gonna be a cunt.
Because you won't know you don't know yourself, you don't know your habits, you don't know your routines.
But like the more we keep going, the worse it's gonna get. So I do think it's the right decision to do something about it.
I wanted to, like, from a vain place of like, I don't want wrinkles. Like that's so
me
stupid.
Either.
But like,
and I don't want like bad lungs. Like, you know, like I want to be a mother. Like I
don't know about that, but yes, like. Yeah, but we made it through dry January, still cigarette free, not loving it, guys, but that's the reality. Like it is what the fuck it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for listening. If you like this type of episode where we kind of just like chat about like little mini topics, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and followed on Spotify or Apple. We really want to get our ratings up, so please rate us on any platform. It takes 2 seconds and you would make our days. We also post polls and memes and reels and fun things on our Instagram. So follow us there too at So Wet So Dry. The O's are zeros, TikTok, all of that. And especially just let us know if you guys like this type of episode, because it's fun for us and it's like easier to plan. So.
Yes, which we need right now. We also have listener support. It's in the bottom of the description of every single episode, no matter what platform you guys are listening on. It is 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 a month. And we love you guys so much. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.
The thing that sucks about needing male validation or like wanting male validation as a heterosexual woman or like bisexual woman, whatever, which is what I am, is that you want male validation from like a romantic and sexual place because like, hello, duh, you're like attracted to them. But then also at the same time, like men, like patriarchy, like hello, like they have more power than you. They're also like oppressive towards you, whether like intentionally or not. It's how the fucking system is set up. So it's like, okay, wait, like I have to clock when I want validation from you from a place of like, oh my god, I'm just a small little stupid woman that must be validated by men because how could I know any better? And from a place of like, I want to be validated from you because like I think you're hot and like I want to fuck and like maybe date you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a very big difference. Like we want validation from people like as humans. Like you want validation from your fucking boss. You want validation from your friends, like whatever. But like when it comes to a sexual and romantic sense, like hello, duh, I want validation. But because of patriarchy and because, you know, men are inherently like oppressors under patriarchy, it's also like, do I just want their validation because like I don't know, like I don't believe in my own worth? And that can become confusing because your romantic life is wrapped up in your oppression. What? You know what I'm saying? But that's why I just think we need to be like a little bit kinder to ourselves and be like fucking realistic, because like wanting male validation in general is not like a bad thing. Like you can want male validation, like men want female validation, like women want female validation from other women that they're gonna date. Like that is like normal. But I think it's just like when it's coming from like an internally misogynistic place, and